Installing a button-type Romex connector from the inside of an electrical panel might seem like a minor detail, but it can raise concerns related to electrical safety and code compliance. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, emphasizes the importance of ensuring that electrical installations are both safe and accessible for inspection and maintenance. Let's delve into why installing these connectors from the inside might not be acceptable and explore the relevant NEC considerations. One key aspect is accessibility. The NEC mandates in Section 110.26 that electrical connections must be accessible for inspection, testing, and maintenance. Installing the connector from the inside can make it difficult to inspect the wires and the connector itself, especially if the panel is crowded with other wiring. This lack of accessibility can hinder troubleshooting and increase the risk of potential issues going unnoticed. Another important factor is strain relief. Romex connectors are specifically designed to provide strain relief for the wires. This prevents the wires from being pulled out of the panel, which could lead to loose connections and potential hazards. Installing the connector from the inside might compromise its ability to provide adequate strain relief. If the wires are not securely held in place, they could become loose over time, increasing the risk of arcing, overheating, and even electrical fires. Code compliance is another significant consideration. Article 300.4 D of the NEC addresses the installation of non-metallic sheaths cable connectors. It typically requires that these connectors be installed in a listed outlet box or electrical cabinet. Installing the connector from the inside might not meet this requirement, potentially leading to code violations. Now, let's explore the potential consequences of installing the connector from the inside. Firstly, it can lead to a failed electrical inspection. Electrical inspectors are responsible for ensuring that installations meet code requirements and safety standards. If they find that the Romex connector has been improperly installed, they may fail the inspection, requiring you to correct the issue. Secondly, it can create a fire hazard. As mentioned earlier, compromised strain relief can lead to loose wires, which can cause arcing and overheating. This, in turn, can ignite nearby materials and start a fire. Electrical fires can be particularly dangerous and can cause significant damage to property and even pose a threat to human life. Thirdly, it can result in legal liability. In the event of an electrical fire or other electrical incident, the homeowner or electrician could be held legally liable if it is determined that the improper installation of the Romex connector contributed to the problem. This liability could involve financial responsibility for damages, injuries, or even legal penalties. So, what is the proper way to install a button-type Romex connector? Firstly, drill an appropriate sized hole in the top or side of the panel. The size of the hole should match the specifications of the connector. Secondly, feed the wires through the hole. Make sure you have enough wire length to make connections inside the panel. Thirdly, insert the connector into the hole from the outside of the panel and snap it into place. The connector should fit snugly and securely in the hole. This method ensures that the connector is accessible for inspection and maintenance, provides proper strain relief for the wires, and meets the requirements of the NEC. To further clarify, let's discuss the specific implications of the NEC articles mentioned. NEC Section 110.26, titled Spaces about Electrical Equipment, addresses the need for sufficient access and working space around electrical equipment. This includes electrical panels and enclosures. The intent of this section is to ensure that electricians and other qualified personnel can safely and effectively inspect, maintain, and repair electrical equipment. The specific requirements vary depending on the voltage and type of equipment, but generally, the NEC mandates that there be adequate clearance in front of the equipment, as well as sufficient headroom and workspace. Installing a Romex connector from the inside of a panel can impede access to the wiring and connections within the panel, potentially violating Section 110.26. This is because the connector might obstruct the view of the wiring or make it difficult to reach the connections with tools. Article 300.4 of the NEC, titled Protection Against Physical Damage, covers a range of requirements for protecting electrical wiring and equipment from physical damage. Section 300.4 D specifically addresses the protection of cables and raceways entering enclosures or cabinets. It mandates that where cables or raceways enter enclosures or cabinets, they must be protected from abrasion, sharp edges, and other potential sources of damage. This protection can be achieved through the use of bushings, grommets, or other approved fittings. The Romex connector plays a crucial role in providing this protection for non-metallic sheath cables such as Romex. When installed correctly, the connector ensures that the cable is securely clamped and that the outer jacket of the cable is not damaged by the sharp edges of the enclosure opening. Installing the connector from the inside might compromise this protection, potentially leading to damage to the cable and increasing the risk of electrical hazards. Now, let's consider some practical tips for working with Romex connectors. Firstly, always use the correct size connector for the cable you are using. Romex cables come in various sizes, such as 14/2, 12/2, and 10/2. The connector should be sized to match the cable to ensure a secure and proper fit. Secondly, be careful not to over-tighten the connector. Over-tightening can damage the cable or the connector itself. Tighten the connector just enough to ensure that the cable is securely clamped and that it cannot be easily pulled out. Thirdly, inspect the connector for any signs of damage before installing it. If the connector is cracked, broken, or otherwise damaged, do not use it. Replace it with a new connector. Fourthly, when installing the connector, make sure that the cable is properly seated within the connector. The outer jacket of the cable should be fully engaged with the clamping mechanism of the connector. Fifthly, after installing the connector, give the cable a gentle tug to make sure that it is securely held in place. If the cable moves or slips, retighten the connector or replace it if necessary. In summary, while it might seem like a minor issue, installing a button-type Romex connector from the inside of an electrical panel can have significant implications for electrical safety and code compliance. It can compromise accessibility, strain relief, and protection against physical damage, potentially leading to failed inspections, fire hazards, and legal liability. To ensure a safe and code-compliant installation, always install Romex connectors from the outside of the panel following the manufacturer's instructions and the requirements of the NEC.